every week you will have one discussion topic, which I will post at the beginning of the week. And during the week, you need to make sure you post at least once on that discussion. However, for each discussion, you're going to have to post more than once. So right now I'm going to explain to you the grading procedure for those discussions. It tends to confuse people a little bit, but once you get the hang of it, it's really quite simple. First of all, the discussions are what make up the participation part of this class. So if you think about it, if you were in a face-to-face class, you would be spending 2.5 hours a week in the classroom. You can expect to spend about 2.5 hours a week in the discussion board because that is the class portion of our class. That's where we're going to be doing all our discussing of things. And actually, it's where you'll be doing a large part of your learning too. So for each discussion, you will be posting a minimum of 2 times, but you can post as many times as you like. So first of all, any one post cannot be worth more than 50 points. So that means if you write a very lengthy post about something, it still can only be worth 50 points. You have to post at least twice. But there's more to it than that. For each post, you'll have 1 or more items. And an item is considered like a separate idea. A thought, a question, a new idea, something like that would be an item. And depending on how much detail and relevance you include in your item, it can be worth up to 25 points. So, first of all, I determine that it's relevant, and then I'll look to see how much detail and how well thought out your item is. So what does that mean? If I post a post and it's 20 pages and it's all just about one thing, it's worth 25 points. If I post something that's 2 really good paragraphs about 2 different things, that's worth 50 points. So as you can see, for each post though, every item is not necessarily going to be worth 25 points. On this document that's up on the Start Here page, there are actually examples of different posts that would be worth different amounts of points. So if you take a look, you can see there are examples worth no points at all, examples that are worth up to 12 points, something that's worth up to 25 points, and then what you could add to make that 50 points. And then of course you'd have to post twice during that discussion. So like I said, I do encourage you to go back and reread these. Now a couple of other things you need to keep in mind about the discussion board. First of all, you won't get any points for repeating what someone else already said. Sometimes I ask questions that are open-ended, most of the time. Every once in a while I may ask you for some information that has an actual correct right or wrong answer. And if someone has already answered my question, you won't get points for answering it again. So you need to read your classmates' posts first. And then another thing to keep in mind is as long as you've posted at least once by the due date, you have up to 2 weeks to continue adding posts, and I'll keep adding points as long as you stay on topic. So if you keep adding posts but they're about something irrelevant, I won't keep giving you points for that. But otherwise, for 2 weeks after the due date, as long as you posted once by the due date, you can keep adding and you'll keep getting more points. There's no limit to how many times you can post per discussion. And one thing that you might wonder is, what if I'm someone who doesn't really like to write lengthy posts? Well, that's okay. You can write 10-point posts and get 100 points that way too. They don't all have to be very long, lengthy paragraphs that you've thought, you've written a book about. If you feel like just writing a couple sentences at a time, that's fine. You can still earn points that way.
I just don't understand this. I posted a really good post this week on the discussion board. Why did I only get 50 points? I answered every one of your questions you asked us. I should get 100.
Well, the reason why you only got 50 is you have to post twice per discussion, and each post can't be worth more than 50 points. So if you post a really good post, it'll only be worth 50 points. Even if you post like 10 pages, you have to post twice per discussion at least.
Oh. I also posted one last week, and I didn't get any points. I thought we had 2 weeks after the due date to make our points, to get our points.
Well, you do, but you have to post once before the due date. If you don't post at least once before the due date, you won't get any points, even if you post a lot of times afterward. So if you post once by the due date, and you only get 10 points, then you can keep posting for 2 weeks after that, but if you don't post anything before it's due, then you can't keep posting.
Oh, I get it.
I'm so frustrated. I don't understand anything that I'm supposed to be doing in my online class. It doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like there are all these people in my class who know more than I do, and they understand everything already.
Well then, why don't you ask some questions? Don't you say that you have a bulletin board for that class where you discuss things?
Yeah, but I look really stupid. I mean, everyone else probably already knows all this stuff. I just feel so stupid.
But don't you get points on your discussion for asking questions? I know that in my online course, the instructor gives us points for just asking questions.
Yeah, that's true. I would get points for that, but I'd still look stupid.
I don't think so. Probably a lot of people in your class have the same questions and they're afraid to ask. But listen, if you're worried about that, why don't you go to your professor's office hours and ask her for help, or send her an email.
But I don't want to bother her. I know she's busy.
What do you think these professors are supposed to be doing? They're here to teach us. Anyway, they always seem to like it when I go to their office hours. I think it makes their colleagues jealous or something.
True. Okay, maybe I'll ask on the bulletin board first, and then if no one answers, I'll visit her during her office hours. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right, I'll do that then.
One thing that's here is this link that says Keys to Success. These are just some reminders for you so that as you're working on your class, if you keep these things in mind, you should do pretty well in the class. First of all, online classes are a little different from face-to-face classes because no one is going to call you up and make sure you're doing your work. And unlike in a regular class where if you don't turn in your homework, your teacher is going to ask you why, it's possible that, you might not come to my online class and I would have no way to reach you. So therefore, it takes a lot of discipline on your part. Another thing is it requires good time management skills because although you could leave everything off until the day it's due, and you'll notice all the due dates for this course are on Sundays, what you'll find is that it's about 6 to 12 hours of work a week, just like it would be in a regular face-to-face class. And if you leave everything until Sunday, your Sundays are not going to be very fun. So you probably want to make sure you spread it out a little bit during the week so that you don't have to do it all at once. Another thing about online classes is you need to make sure that you ask for help when you need help. In a regular face-to-face class, I'll look around the room and I can see sometimes, because of my students' facial expressions or their body language, that they're confused and need extra help. But online I can't see you, and so I don't know if you need help with something. So it's very important that you are willing to ask questions and ask for help. If you don't understand something, you need to speak up and make sure that you ask about it. Online classes require a lot more reading and writing than a face-to-face class. So you need to be prepared to do a lot of reading and a lot of writing because there's no talking really. I mean, I'm talking right now, but most of the class is going to consist of you reading things and writing things. So they do require a lot of reading and writing. And finally, you need to plan ahead for disasters, especially when dealing with technology. Whenever you have something where you're dependent on technology, you need to probably allow a little extra time just in case something goes wrong. However, if you do have any problems, one thing you might want to do is call ACCD's tech support number because I am not a tech person, so if you have a tech problem, you'll need to call them. When you're working on files, make sure you back them up, save them in 2 places, because things do go wrong sometimes with technology.